Okay, here we go. Welcome to the 8-week macros nutrition challenge voice over of the lecture. Thank you all for listening and participating. This is edit number 2 of it. Since the first time around it was a bit quiet, and I have hopefully maybe a few more things to add that weren't in there before that are probably relevant. Okay, so here we go, starting it up. For this challenge, what are we trying to accomplish? Number one, a better understanding and appreciation for nutrition. So what I mean by that is a better understanding of the science of nutrition and kind of understanding that it is simple, and when you have that knowledge and you're able to apply it to yourself and your goals, you can be successful and without making it too challenging on yourself or stressing yourself out or any of those fun things that usually happen to people when they start thinking about diet and nutrition, right? Second thing, the skills to be successful with any body weight goal you choose. And again, what I mean by that is nutrition is not just limited to losing weight, right? It can be applied to staying at the same weight, but improving your body composition, or in some cases, for some people, it could be applied to gaining weight, right? Next, understanding your macros and how to manipulate them, or understanding your macros, kind of what they are, what they mean, and how to use them, and yeah, how that works for you and your life and your diet, etc. Okay? Um, uh, Thinking about food and nutrition in a totally different light. What I mean by that is, some people have an unhealthy relationship with food. It's a reward, positive, negative reward for things. Kind of change the way you think about nutrition. Maybe you'll change the result you get with your nutrition, right? And lastly, balance in your life, right? We are always trying to seek balance. We don't want to be out of balance in our nutrition. And what I mean by that, per se, is we're not trying to starve ourselves. We're not trying to, void ourselves of any one specific food or macronutrient, or, cut anything out completely per se, but we're just looking to change our habits and, balance everything out, right? And so, what this is not is a quick fix. Definitely not a quick fix, right? Even though we live in a world of instant gratification, the Instagram posts that gets lots of likes, all those kinds of things, right? Unfortunately, this is not a quick fix, but what it is a long-term fix, right? And so along those same lines, what this is not is an easy way to lose weight, right? Anyone that's ever told you that things like this are easy are certainly not selling you long-term solutions. They might be selling you instant gratification solutions, but probably not long-term solutions, right? And again, this is not a guarantee that you will accomplish your body weight goals, because as anything in life, nothing is guaranteed, right? But what that means is, if you put in the work and you take responsibility and ownership of your own success and failures, you will have a much better chance of being successful and putting yourself in a situation for being successful. What this is not is a body shaming program, right? So we're not looking to make ourselves feel bad for who we are or what we look like, or where we're at with ourselves and our nutrition. We're looking to make a change and improve on what we are where we're at or what we've been doing, right? So don't feel bad about anything about where you're at, okay? And lastly, this is not a dietary restriction or starvation program. So like I said before, we're not looking to necessarily cut anything out completely, or we're not looking to starve ourselves or cut out so many calories that we're, you know, on that anorexic line, right? But seriously though, right? You're probably going to eat more food in some cases than you might have eaten before. And that's a good thing. Eating more is better, even if it means losing weight. Haha, see what I did there. Anyways. Okay, what is required from you? a commitment to learning, right? So again, as we go through all of this, you got to learn and you got to not necessarily understand, but hopefully understand what the nutrition science I'm trying to teach you is and how to use it and how it's going to make you more successful, right? And a commitment to improving and getting better, right? And ultimately, again, that means that you have to be committed to your own success and failures, and you have to understand that just because you sign up for something or just because you say you want it doesn't mean it's going to happen, right? You have to actually do it, and you have to say you are going to do it and commit to doing it. What else is required? The understanding that the result you get is entirely dependent on your own desire to get the result you want and your willingness to do what is necessary to get it. That's like I just said. Ultimately, it's your commitment to improving and getting better, and it's your willingness to do what is necessary to get it. Lots of people tell me all the time why they can't do things. Seldom do I hear why they can do things, right? And so, again, think about changing how you think about things and owning your own successes and failures instead of looking to think why you can't do something, right? Think about why you can. Again, consistency. Consistency is key, right? Consistency, not novelty, achieves extraordinary results. Inconsistency will not yield positive results. Ultimately, this stands for so many things in life, right? Not just nutrition, but your physical fitness, in terms of your progress in the gym, in terms of your progress in many things in life, your job, your career, your family, whatever it is. They require consistent effort in the direction you want them to go, and ultimately, that is very important to understand. Okay, and lastly, your success and failure in accomplishing your goals in this program lies with you, and you gotta own it. Again, I'm gonna hit you over the head with that one. That's the third time I've said it now. Your success and failures lie with you, and you gotta own it. You gotta want it. The more you want it, the more chance you have of getting it, right? So next, here we go. The boring stuff, the nutritional science. Some of the stuff that no one ever really wants to learn, but unfortunately, or fortunately, I guess, when you do know it, it helps make this journey much easier. So, here we go. The first thing we're going to go over is what I like to call the pyramid of dietary importance. However, there's no graphics in this because I'm not a very graphics person. I lack those skills or something of that nature. So, it's just kind of a list instead of a pyramid. Sorry about that. So the pyramid of dietary importance, and as we can see, the list of things, right? Starting with the bottom of the pyramid, as I would say, is calories. So that's like calories in, calories out, just calories in general. That all things you eat are made up of calories, right? They consist of calories. Calories are energy, and that's what you use for fuel. Okay, so beyond that, what makes up your calories are macronutrients, right? Those proteins, fats, and carbs. Okay, so in nutrition, you kind of have what I like to say, calories in, calories out, and then moving up that pyramid of importance in terms of how you track your food and how you make progress with your diet. You've got your macronutrients, your proteins, fats, and carbs, and how you break them down, right? How you split them up, the ratios. And then next, you move up the chain there, and then you say, how do I split up those macronutrients, those proteins, fats, and carbs, and how do I portion them out into the meals that I'm eating, right? How does that play a role in my nutrition and how I accomplish my nutrition goals? And then lastly, you want to look at nutrient or meal timing, and what that means is when do I eat those portioned out meals that I made that have those proteins, fats, and carbs in them that add up to all those calories that I need to eat for the day, right? So does that make sense as we move down the pyramid of dietary importance there? All right. So next, first thing in the list of dietary importance is calories. So when we talk about calories in the pyramid of dietary importance, we talk about calories in versus calories out, and this is the basis of all body weight change, right? So understanding that calorie surplus equals calorie gain, i.e. you eat more food than you're burning, right? So therefore you're in a surplus, and as such you should expect to be gaining weight, right? And if you're in a deficit, a calorie deficit, that means you're losing weight, or hopefully you're losing weight, right? You're burning more calories than you're expending or you're eating in the day, right? Or you're eating less than you're expending. Okay. So next we have our macros, our macronutrients, and I touched on this a little bit earlier. All food consists of three macros, or three macronutrients: proteins, fats, and carbs. Proper nutrition should contain all three of these macronutrients in most of your meals. These are the building blocks of life. And as I said before, if you're void of any one of these three, are we in balance? And my answer to that is no, and therefore we are trying to be in balance, and that is not reflective of what we're trying to accomplish in our nutrition journey, right? So next, protein. So protein is one of the macronutrients, right? The building blocks of all your muscles. Our goal is to eat enough protein to support and build lean mass, but not in excess to promote fat gain, right? So even though even though protein is good, you still don't want to eat too much of it. There's a good amount to eat, and your template will be reflective of what I think is probably a good amount for you to eat. Okay. Protein has 4 calories to the gram, so it's not very nutritionally, or it's not very energy dense, and it does require some energy to break it down. So its overall calorie yield is less. It's the least calorie yield of the three. Okay. Ideally, we want to get complete lean proteins when we're eating. We're not looking necessarily to get protein from things like peanut butter or nuts and seeds. More so the lean meats and things like that, right? Full, complete proteins, lean meat, dairy products, protein powders probably have those in it also. Okay. Try your best not to count plant-based proteins as part of your regular protein intake, as they do not contain a complete amino acid profile, and as such would have to be paired with another complementary protein to get the complete amino acid profile. This is effort. It does take work, right? You got to match them up. You got to make sure you're getting the right amino acids that that might be lacking in other certain proteins that are, again, come from plant-based sources. Okay, so we say roughly 30% of your daily calories should come from protein sources. Okay, next we got fat. Yummy. Fat's good, right? Fat is tasty. We all like fat. Fat used to be hated by everyone for the longest time, that zero fat phase that everyone went through, and kind of come out of that now. But for some people, eating in this manner will mean eating quite a bit more fat than you might have been used to. Maybe that's good. It's probably a good thing for you. Fat's good. I like it. And so fat has 9 calories to the gram, and as you can see, it's about a little more than twice as calorie dense than protein or carbs. So that means a lot less. You'll need a lot less fat, or in terms of quantity, to get your calories or grams of fat in, right? We want to try and get our fats from good oils, right? Those olive oils, things like that, grapeseed oils, flax, hemp oil, things like that. Nuts and seeds and nut butters are also great sources of oils. We want to try and minimize vegetable oils and substantial amounts of fat that comes from trans animal fat, but I would say saturated fat, animal fat is probably better than the vegetable oils for you. That's my opinion anyway. Fat isn't bad for you. Remember that. Fat's good, yummy, fat, tasty, love it. Anyway, as I was saying, 30% of your daily calories should come from fat, same as protein. Okay. Next, carbs. Carbohydrates are not the devil. Love them. Yummy. Carbs are good for you. Yes, they are. Even though you might have heard otherwise. Lots of people say otherwise. Okay. Why are they good for you? Because they support recovery from exercise. Right? They replenish your glycogen stores. They keep your energy levels up when you exercise for long times. And especially if you do high energy work, right? You're active and you're doing lots of CrossFit and strength training and lifting weights or running and fitness stuff like that, you probably should be eating carbs straight up. Okay. Carbs will not make you fat if you take care to eat the bulk of them at the right time. So that means there is a right time, right? That means there is some important time for you to be eating carbs and a not so important time to be eating carbs. Okay. Carbs have 4 calories to the gram, same as protein. You know, and we're looking to have about 30% of our, or sorry, 40% of our calories from carbs. Okay. We're not looking to have a diet with no carbs in it. For some people, again, that might be a big difference. You might have been eating way less carbs before than you are now with this recommendation, and maybe that's a good thing. Maybe you know, that'll help change how you exercise and improve your overall energy levels. Okay. Again, a diet without carbs is not sustainable over the course of time, and we're after balance and sustainability, right? So keep that in mind when you're, thinking about, oh my goodness, I'm eating so many more carbs than I think I should be, or I'm used to eating, right? Okay. Portions. So now that we know about macros and we know about calories, how do we split up our portions? So how do we put all this stuff together, right? We know that we know that we want to achieve in our daily calories, we want to achieve 30% from protein, 30% from fat, and 40% from carbs. But that doesn't necessarily mean that all your meals will have the same ratios of macronutrients in them, right? That perfect 30, 30, 40 or 30, 40, 30, right? Meals closer to when you work out and when you've been working out will have a greater percentage of carbohydrates in them. Okay, meals on days when you do not work out will have a higher percentage of fat and protein in them. So again, keeping in mind that carbs help fuel exercise and things like that. Like I said before, there is an important time to eat carbs and a good time to eat them and a not so good time, right? And that means that the portions and the times at which you eat these meals is important or are important, right? And much and all as you might not hope they're not important, it is important if you want to achieve the best result, okay? Right? That's if you want the best result. Okay, so on to nutrient timing. So we talked about our macros, we talked about our portions, how we splitting the meals up, and then portioning your meals and eating the meals at the appropriate times does make a difference. It's not that complicated, I promise. It's really not. It's just kind of understanding that if you're prepared for eating your food at the right times and having that food available for you to eat at the right times, that you can be consistent or you can be successful, right? And the more consistent you are with eating your meals at the right times or the same times, you will be successful, right? And so you want to ask yourself, why is nutrient timing important? Nutrient timing is important because we have this thing in our body called insulin. Insulin is the body's hormone to store, okay? And so that means that if you can control your insulin levels through proper nutrient timing, you will be very successful with eating more food and getting a better result, right? And so also that means there are, like I said before, ideal times to eat certain foods, i.e. ideal times to eat carbohydrates, especially. Okay. It also means that the more precise and consistent you are with this, the less you will need to restrict your diet to see a positive change. And I keep saying that, right? The more you use the knowledge of science to assist you in your journey, probably the more successful you're going to be, right? And that's a good thing because you want to eat as much food as you can and still continue to lose weight, or even if you want to gain weight, maybe you want to eat more food, right? Who knows? So, your recommendation. When you get your recommendation, your calories and your macros are based off of your body weight and your nutritional goal that you filled out for me. Okay? For some of you, this is a big time change to how you eat, right? Big time, big time. And that's a good thing. That's why you're here. Remember, you don't live to eat food. You eat to live, right? Food is the fuel of your life. Food keeps you going, and food is your energy. Food is not a reward. You should stop thinking about it like that. Food is not a negative reward, right? You shouldn't restrict things because you didn't do something. You got to get past that. That's what I think, anyways. Okay? Food is fuel for life, and therefore, the better the fuel and the higher the quality of the fuel, the better the engine that it's running will go, right? And so, you ought to follow your recommendation as it's written, hopefully, as best you can for 2 weeks, or you have no basis to draw conclusions about what is happening to your body. So what I mean by that is you're going to get a recommendation, and it's based on the goals that you gave me, and it's based on the body weight that you gave me, but it's not a guarantee that it's going to work right off the bat. And so we need to test it out for 2 weeks, right, to see what it gets us. But if you're not consistent with this, right, if you're not consistent with your nutrition and you're not doing it as it's written, then we don't really have anything to go off of in terms of knowing what it's getting us. And therefore, that's why that's important. Okay? So, overwhelming? Is this overwhelming? It might be. It could be if you're very new to nutrition. I'm hopefully trying not to make this overwhelming for most people because, I don't want to scare you. I want you to be successful. If your recommendation is very far off from what you've been doing, then I would strongly suggest starting gradually into this program. I suggest that because going all the way in head first right away, if you have no experience, start doing something like this can be very challenging, and it's the same as your training and you're working out, right? You don't start out with the hardest program and the hardest workouts. You kind of want to work your way up to that, and that's the same thing with this nutrition. So if you really have no experience with this kind of stuff, then maybe when you get your recommendation and your template, you would start with just trying to eat that amount of calories per day, and maybe trying to fill the macros for the day. So eating the calories, that amount of calories, and trying to eat the amount of macros, right? So eat X number of protein, X number of fat, and X amount of carbs for the day. And then once you kind of get comfortable with filling the macros and the calorie prescription, then you can move towards portioning out the food, right? Working on the portions, and then again, as you get the portions in, are more comfortable with preparing the food and stuff, you can get the meal timing going, right? And that all takes time. It'll take some practice. Again, it all depends on where you're at with your nutrition journey and kind of how far and how much of a change this really is for you, and how challenging it will be, okay? As always, though, we are out there for support, okay? So we want to help you, and if you need help, you'll have questions, ask and let me help you because I'm happy to help, okay? Accuracy of measurement. So, weighing and measuring your food is important if you want the best result. Unfortunately, for some people, that again will be a big change because they never thought about how much they're eating in terms of their food quantities. But it is important, right? Because a lot of the time people think they're eating a lot less than they actually are, right? And so if you want to be accurate and you want to be you want the best result, ultimately you got to weigh and measure the food. That's it. That's all. The people who get the best results are the people who weigh and measure. They're the people who are consistent, etc., right? Unfortunately, this means you will have to prepare your food. Maybe you do that, maybe you don't already. Maybe it means you're going to seek out getting a meal service. That's an option too. I do that. I know a lot of people that get, already made portioned out meals that have a certain amount of protein, fats, and carbs in them, right? You can do it yourself, and you can prep on like a Sunday or a Saturday or whatever, and cook a bunch of meals for the week and have all that food ready for you so that you can have it prepared, ready to go when you need it. For some of you, that's a step way out of the comfort zone, right? But you know, stepping out of your comfort zone and trying to change is good. Change is a good thing. Nothing worth having ever came easily, right? That's the truth about a lot of things in life for many, many people. Um, all the things that came easily weren't that great, and you're not that satisfied when you get them. But the things that you had to work for and you had to strive for, those things are often much more appreciated, and um, you know, you enjoy it a lot more. You enjoy the success of it more, right? Okay, so using your template. So right now, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pull up the template for you guys, so you can see it on the screen here. And I'm going to pull up, sorry, oops. I'm going to pull up the template here. So you can see it like that, right? And so this is someone's template here, Adam's template. Well, I didn't need to say that, but it doesn't really matter, right? So you can see it here. You got workout, non-work. So sorry, let's go through this very simply from the top. Okay, so here you can see in this template you have your the description of the food. So you kind of have a list of foods, your lean protein sources, veggies, healthy fats, healthy carbs, workout shake carbs, right? So the simple carbs. So you're gonna, again, you got to go through the template, but so here we have body weight, and so from that body weight we have your total calories recommended for the day, your grams of protein for the day, grams of fat for the day, and grams of carbs for the day. And then as you scroll down through all this, you can see this here is the non-workout days. When you're looking at the non-workout days, you can see the meals have a bit more protein in them, much higher fat in them than the training days, and then a lower carbohydrate recommendation for the non-workout days. And again, you can see here the grams of protein, the grams of fat, the grams of carbs, right? And then over here is the total amount of calories for the day for non-workout days. And then as we scroll down, you can see we got workout after one meal. So that's kind of, this is for workout days, obviously. And so as you can see, workout after 2 meals, workout after 3 meals, workout after 4 meals, first thing workout. And so what you'll notice is, even though this looks really overwhelming and confusing at first, is that each one of these days, the prescription of calories, the breakdown of the portions, the amount of macros and calories, etc., is all the same. Okay, the only thing that's different about each of these days is that when you eat certain quantities of food is different, right? So, you know, you can see here we got workout after one meal. You have, you know, your first meal of the day, and then you have your second meal, right? Or your second meal of the day, if you will, is your protein shake and workout carbs, and then as follows you go with your post-workout meal, etc., etc., through to the end of the day, right? And you know, you got here workout after 3 meals, and oftentimes I think workout after 3 meals is usually people who work out after work, right? So that's if you're working out when you finish work, your day at work. You got the right, you're having 3 meals before you work out, and then again at the bottom here we got workout first thing in the morning, right? So that's the AM, the 6 a.m. or workout people, okay? And so, you know, the great part about this is most people are pretty consistent in their scheduling, and so once you've kind of figured out how to use this template and you know, what your day looks like, usually applying the template every day becomes much easier once you've done it a couple of times. And if you need to change it and you need to make modifications to the template, all you need to do is you know, scroll through and look and be like, oh no, okay, I gotta go, you know, I have to go to the gym first thing in the morning instead of after work, so I'm gonna go to the first thing workout instead of workout after 3 meals, right? Does that make sense? Yes, super easy. Hopefully that's pretty easy for everyone, right? So back to here. And on we go. So preparation. Preparation is important. Especially if you, again, if you want the best result, you're going to have to prepare yourself and be prepared for the week ahead of you in terms of how much food you're eating, when you're eating it, having the meals available to you to eat when you need to eat them, right? Because oftentimes unforeseen things happen and stuff comes up and it changes what you're going to do and it changes how you're going to do it. And if you don't have that stuff ready for you, you make bad decisions, right? So preparation is key. Honestly, the preparation and the forethought in terms of thinking ahead and being prepared for what's coming are the two truly biggest keys to success in this program. It's like the hugest part. If you can't prepare ahead of time and kind of set yourself up for success, it's very, very, very hard to be successful, right? So simple, if flying by the seat of your pants every day and just kind of waking up and going, okay, what am I going to eat today? And how many calories is this? And how much protein and fat is in this? And hopefully I make my recommendation. Like, you're making it harder for yourself, right? And we want to not do that, hopefully. Whereas if you're starting it up, your day up with, I'm having this meal first, and I know that this meal has X number of protein and X carbs and X fat, and my next meal, and that's, my first meal of the day, and I'm training after 3 meals, and so I'm going to have, 2 more meals, and they're this, then this, and this, and then I have my workout set up for this, etc., right? That's how you're going to be. It's going to be a lot more successful if you're kind of thinking along those lines, right? And, thinking in some cases weeks in advance, not even just days, right? If you wish to adequately prepare for any changes you may have to schedule, or any you may have to schedule or daily, whatever. I don't even know what I'm just saying there. Anyways, next slide, because that doesn't even matter. Cheating. Cheating is always allowed. This is everyone's favorite slide, because everyone wants to know on a diet when they can cheat. And as I always say, cheating is always allowed. However, how much you choose to cheat on your diet is up to you, because ultimately, how much you choose to cheat is going to change the result that you get, right? So then you got to ask yourself, how badly do you want the result that you want? And that will probably dictate how much you choose to cheat on your diet. Otherwise, if you're going to cheat on your diet, then don't say you want a really drastic result, right? Because you're probably not going to be successful with it. If you're only looking for a moderate result and you're just kind of looking to learn, then maybe you're going to cheat a little bit more. But if you're looking to lose, again, how drastic the change you're looking to make is going to dictate how much cheating you're going to do. That's what I would say. Personally, I would recommend, generally a 10% cheat. All right, so 4 out of 40 meals in a week. So it'd be like almost a day, right? In my case, when I'm thinking about this stuff, I do like, oops, sorry. 4 out of 40. So that's like, Saturday afternoon through to Sunday afternoon or something like that. And then that's it. I'm done. I'm not really counting the meals. It's not a crazy cheat though. I'm not like going crazy and all out on my cheating and eating as much bad food as I can. And so maybe if you do that, you probably don't want to do too many cheats either, right? Again, another good piece of advice: plan your cheat meals around times you know it will be hard for you to meet your daily recommendations, right? This does take forethought. However, planning your cheat meals around things like work meetings and when you know you can't adhere to your diet template is probably the best way to cheat if you know you have to cheat, right? Otherwise, again, if you're not planning ahead and having forethought, you're making your journey on this in terms of being successful much more challenging. Okay, food recommendations. I already went through this in terms of when I went into the template there. Of course, your recommendations can be modified to suit your own taste. However, the farther you stray from this, the recommendations means I would say probably the less positive your results will be, right? That might mean for some people that might mean I don't want to have any protein powder, and that's fine. You don't have to have any protein powder. But what that does mean is that the protein powder that you would be having will have the protein that you aren't getting from protein powder in those meals in your template will have to be made up somewhere else, right? It doesn't mean that they just disappear and you don't have them. It means it has to be made up somewhere else. Or in some cases, right? Like if you don't want to have protein powder, what are you going to have after your workout? I don't know. Again, think about your nutrition and your goals and what you want to accomplish, and doing what is the best to accomplish those goals, right? Keep that in mind. So putting it all together, right? Remember the pyramid from the start: calories, macros, portions, meal timing, and kind of how those all play together. And for some people, this might be a drastic change, and that's a great thing. Good change is good. We love it. We want to change. But as I said before, if this is overwhelming for you, then start slowly. Start trying to meet the calorie and macros recommendations, and then start to work towards meeting the meals, the meal portions, and the meal timing aspects of the template. As you get more comfortable with that stuff, okay? Remember, the most positive results will come from those who are able to follow the template as close to how it's written as possible. So again, what I mean by that is, in a cross section of people where everyone's doing a diet challenge or whatever, you're going to get people that are super successful and they go above and beyond what's written for them in the template, and they do amazing. And then there's people that gonna go off right away and they're just they just tell themselves it's not gonna work, and it's too challenging, and so it goes, right? So remember that, right? So you gotta own your own success and failures in this, okay? Weighing yourself. We want to try and see a consistent trend in the direction that you're trying to go, right? So either gaining or losing or staying the same weight. Try and weigh yourself three times a week under the same conditions each time, okay? And then you're going to take the average. If you have 3 consecutive measurements that are not in line with your goal after your initial 2 weeks, send me a message and we'll start adjusting your macros, okay? Remember, not weighing consistently or not following the recommendations is not a reason to change the numbers, and it's not a reason to place blame, right? Because you can't look at that and be like, if I'm not if I haven't been consistent with how I'm eating my food, can I really pass a judgment on whether or not this program is being successful for me? And the answer is no, right? And so there can be many reasons why your weight might not be going in the right direction, and so it could be sleep, it could be stress, it could be hydration, it could be all of them, it could be any combo of them, whatever it is, right? So you got to figure that out eventually, okay? Progress pictures. Some people don't like the idea of taking progress pictures, and obviously you don't have to send them to me if you don't want to, but you should still take them for yourself, because it's a great way to gauge your progress, because even though you might not be gaining or losing any weight, your body can still be making a change, and it helps if you take some progress pictures, specifically at 2-week intervals, to help you try and see that progress, even though sometimes it might not be happening on the scale, right? So winner takes the cake, right? As this is a challenge, 1 free month membership to the person who has the best transformation as it relates to their goal. Okay, so that means that if you want to be involved in the challenge, you have to submit progress pictures to me. If you don't submit progress pictures, you can't be a part of the challenge, right? Or well, you can't win the prize, I guess. You're still part of the challenge, but that is what it is, right? But yeah, what's next? Any questions? Nope, no questions, because we're done. Woo! Finish. All done.